Okay, 8th grade, so we are in our writing packet today on page 22. What we're doing today really leads off what we did last time, so if you did not watch or didn't complete the lesson from Tuesday, make sure you do that because this will not make any sense without it. So, as always in the writing packet, we start with the journal entry. So the journal entry today asked you, what is one goal you have for the future? Why is it important to you? And how do you plan to achieve it? So you could think about a goal you have for high school. Maybe it's a goal that you have for after high school. And talk about if it's an after high school goal, let's say it's like college or military or some type of job that you want to get after high school. What do you need to do in high school to achieve that goal? That's one thing that you could think about here. Because you guys are getting ready to head right over there. So, as always with these journal entries, you need to do those 5 to 7 sentences, which is one paragraph. And you'll do this independently. So you can go ahead and do it now, pause and do it now, or do it at the end. It really doesn't matter to me, but I'm going to move on to page 23. And we're going to be talking about infinitive phrases. We talked about infinitives last time. That's why it's really important if you didn't watch Tuesdays or didn't complete Tuesday's packet pages that you go back and do that, because this isn't going to make any sense without Tuesday's lesson. So, as always, we're going to do this lesson at the top here together. Just go over what an infinitive phrase is, how we identify infinitive phrases, the possible functions of infinitive phrases, and then at the bottom, we'll do the guided practice together. And then you guys will do page 24 on your own as your, homework, I guess you could say. So last time we talked about infinitives. So an infinitive is a verbal, which, just as a reminder, a review, we've been talking a lot about verbals. Verbals are verbs that function as either a noun, adjective, or adverb. In this case, an infinitive usually functions as a noun, but it can also function as an adjective or adverb. But most of the time, it's functioning as a noun. And the way we differentiate an infinitive, we know that the gerund ends with ing or ed. In this case, we know it is an infinitive because it begins with the word to. T-O, not T-W-O. So now we need to look at what an infinitive phrase is. So an infinitive phrase is made up of an infinitive and the words that complete its meaning. So the words that help us to understand what the infinitive is actually saying. So an infinitive phrase might include nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, and other words and phrases. In the sentence below, the infinitive phrase is made up of the infinitive, which is to travel, and the prepositional phrase is to other planets. So the way that you know that what the infinitive phrase is because you're looking for its completed meaning. So I always do these little question tricks for you guys. So in this example, it says to travel to other planets. So you could say to travel where? To other planets. That answers the question. So if we look at our functions here, you can do the same thing with all of these. You can ask where or why or when, that sort of thing. So it says an infinitive phrase can function as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Like I said, usually an infinitive functions as a noun, but it can also function as an adjective or adverb. So the possible functions is noun as a subject. We always know that the subject of the sentence is the main thing that the sentence is talking about. It's usually going to be at the very, very beginning. So here it says, to reach even the nearest planet requires traveling for several years. So if we said to reach what, the answer would be even the nearest planet. So that's how we know that that is the full phrase. Because if you said to reach what, even the nearest planet requires, that doesn't make sense. So you're just completing the thought. So noun is a direct object. It's not the subject, but it's what the subject is interacting with or getting or using, whatever the case is. So this says, still, many people would love to go there. Go where? There. Noun as a predicate nominative. A predicate nominative, if you've forgotten, is something that renames the subject. So it's just another way to refer to the subject. So in this case, it says one of the oldest dreams is to understand the universe. Their oldest dream is to understand the universe. They're the same thing. Oldest dream and understanding the universe are the same. So that's what it means when it says predicate nominative, because it renames the subject. It's just another, it's the same thing as the subject, basically. So, to understand what? The universe, that's how we finish off the phrase. Now, an adjective, modifying a noun. An adjective is describing something, so this would be an adjective that is describing or expanding on the noun. So it says, unmanned spacecraft have given us a tool to explore distant parts of our solar system. So if we said to explore what? The answer would be distant parts of our solar system. Because exploring different parts of our solar system describes the tool. What does the tool do? It explores different parts of our solar system. So adverb is the last one, which is modifying an adjective. It says someday it may be possible to go to Mars. To go where? To Mars. That's how you know you finished the infinitive phrase. Let's take a look at the guided practice here together. So it says underline. Always I say it just in case, but I'm going to highlight instead of underline. But underline the infinitive phrase in each sentence. Write subject, direct object, predicate nominative, adjective, or adverb. If the answer is predicate nominative, you can put PN, that's fine. But obviously, adjective, adverb, those start with the same letter. So make sure you either put ADJ or ADV if you're going to abbreviate these. So it says, hint, remember, an adjective tells what kind, an adverb tells how or why, a predicate nominative follows a linking verb. So in this case, the predicate nominative is like the, that sort of thing. That's a linking verb. A direct object follows an action verb. So it says, plug in my laptop here. It says, in 1865, Jules Verne wrote a novel to tell a funny story about space travel. So, we need to look for that to. So it says to tell. Well, that is a verb following the word to. So we know to tell is our infinitive. Now, what is our infinitive phrase? To tell a funny story about space travel. Because if we said to tell what, it would be a funny story about space travel. Now, what type of function is this? Sorry, I couldn't think of the word for it. What type of function is this? Well, is it telling what kind? No, because it's not. We're modifying. Oh, I should have highlighted to tell also. Sorry. Is it telling us what kind of novel? No. Or is it telling us what kind they wrote? No. But does it tell us how or why? Well, it doesn't tell us how, but it tells us why, right? They wrote it to tell a funny story about space travel. That's the reason that they wrote it. So our answer here is going to be adverb. And I'm just going to abbreviate, so it's going to be ADV. So this one says, Verne liked to imagine what would happen in the future. So we have to imagine is going to be our infinitive because we have that word to. We don't have any other tos. And imagine is a verb. So we know it's an infinitive. Now to imagine what? To imagine what would happen in the future. So what is to imagine what would happen in the future doing? Well, it's immediately followed by the word it follows immediately after the word liked. Now, what type of word is liked? What part of speech is it? It's a verb. Which one of these follows an action verb? A direct object. So this time it's functioning as a direct object. And also another way we can identify it is it's the idea or the noun that the subject is interacting with. So what is Verne like? to imagine what would happen in the future. Verne predicted that the United States would be the first country to send people to the moon. So we have to send and to the. Is the a verb? No. Is send a verb? Yes. So we know our infinitive is to send. Now, to send people where? To the moon. So our infinitive phrase is to send people to the moon. Now, what is this functioning as? Well, what kind of, or they would be the first to do what? What kind of thing would they be the first to do? Send people to the moon. So that tells us what kind of first they are experiencing. So what are they experiencing for the first time? Going to the moon. So that's going to make it an adjective because they are describing in more detail what the country would be the first to do. So one effect of space travel would be to experience a type of weightlessness. So we have to experience, it's our infinitive. Now to experience what? A type of weightlessness. That's our infinitive phrase. Now what does this infinitive phrase function as? So it says one effect is our subject. The effect that they are experiencing is a type of weightlessness. So the effect and this are the same thing. A is our linking verb here. So we have a linking verb and this is renaming or just another word for the effect. Then we know that we have a predicate nominative. Now, to splash down in the ocean was a way that astronauts might return from the moon. So we start with the word to, so we know our infinitive is at the beginning here because there's no other to's, and splash is a verb. So to splash down, or to splash where? Down in the ocean. So that's our infinitive phrase. Now, what is it functioning as? Well, it's at the very beginning of the sentence. It's what the entire sentence is talking about. So what is the function? The subject. Because it's what the entire sentence is focused on. The act of splashing down in the ocean. So now you guys are going to move on to page 24 and you're going to do this on your own. It is Friday and next week is our last full week of e-learning. We do have we do have 2 e-learning days, just one. Sorry, I'm out of my mind. June 2nd is our last day of e-learning. I have to submit grades by Wednesday of next week for the e-learning, so you need to make sure that you've sent me all your packet pages by Tuesday. If you haven't sent me any pictures up until this point, if you send me all of this week's, then we'll be good. So just make sure that you are sending me those because otherwise you cannot receive that highest level of engagement, which is what we're grading you on, is the engagement level. So if you've been viewing every day, that's great. You'll fall in that engaged area, but make sure you're sending me those pictures, like I've been saying, to fall in that highly engaged category. So if you guys have any questions or need any help in doing that, please let me know, and I will try to figure out something that works for you. If you're having trouble sending the images, that sort of thing. But yeah, and if you guys have any questions on the material, I'll be available in office hours just like always.